Smartphone cameras are scaling new heights with every new product launch. 2017 has seen the mainstream implementation of dual camera setups, and even budget smartphones are starting to get the dual cameras. Different smartphone makers have different approaches towards their dual camera setups. Some manufacturers choose to have a telephoto zoom lens, some choose a monochrome sensor for better color accuracy, while some phones like the LG G6 have a wider angle lens. Motorola has chosen a depth sensing sensor as the secondary camera. The G5S Plus has an f2.0 aperture and dual 13 megapixel camera sensors along with a true tone dual tone flash. This dual tone flash will help get better exposures in night shots. The front camera is an 8 megapixel wide angle f2.0 camera. The G5S Plus has now a front-facing flash so you can take selfies in low light. A twist of the wrist takes you to the similar Motorola camera UI. If you have owned a Motorola device in the past few years, then this UI is perfectly similar to that. A quick swipe from the left gives you options to few additional settings like storage, photo size, and even a few grids. Daylight shots from the Moto G5S Plus come out to be nicely detailed and the color reproduction is pretty on point. The camera sensor captures a lot of detail from every possible shot. Most tones come out to be fairly accurate. In most scenarios, both indoors and outdoors, the exposures of shots comes out to be nearly perfect. However, I particularly dislike the way the phone deals with the color red and orange. But overall, the camera is very good for normal day-to-day shots. However, focusing is still a problem on the Moto G5S Plus, and you can see this in the given example. The phone is having a very hard time focusing on the stick, but as soon as I hold it little far with my hand, suddenly the whole stick and the frame is in good focus. Similarly, if I drop the stick and start focusing on just 2 of my fingers, the camera does not focus that well. Even 3 fingers is a problem, and so is 4. But as soon as I place my entire hand in the frame, the camera suddenly starts focusing really well. Let's now start moving into low lighting scenarios and have a look at the performance of the G5S Plus. The G5S Plus lacks optical image stabilization and has a relatively slower shutter, and so taking pictures in low light needs you to have a very steady hand. Like most other cameras, as we go into low light, the noise starts increasing. Here's an illustration of the flash on. However, despite the lack of optical image stabilization and the slightly slower shutter speed, the night shots that I have here are pretty beautiful shots indeed. Let's now start moving on to the dual camera, which is the main attraction of this G5S Plus. I thoroughly tested the dual camera setup, but I'm not that impressed. To take a depth picture, you have to switch to the depth mode, and if the subject is very far, it asks you to go closer to your subject. Once a suitable subject is identified, you get the depth slider, and you can see that sliding changes the background depth in real time, and accordingly the blurriness is observed. The depth mode takes a slight extra time to process the picture, but the best part is you can change the depth even after taking the shot. Here's another illustration of the depth mode being used. There are a few other implementations of the depth mode which have been baked right into the UI. Let's have a look at those right now. You can selectively black and white a layer, or even change the background if you have a suitable background ready. As I also mentioned earlier, you can adjust the background blur even after taking the shot right from this slider. I tried the depth mode in different scenarios and even tried taking portraits of people, but I was not that impressed with the results, and I'm frankly disappointed with the only functionality that this dual camera setup is offering me. All that the depth mode is doing is giving me that little bit of extra bokeh, but nothing significant, not even a telephoto zoom mode. The selfies are a different story altogether, and most selfies produced are exposed really well and come out to be fairly detailed. The G5S Plus has a wider angle 8 megapixel camera sensor as compared to the G5 Plus. The presence of a front-facing flash is also a great benefit if you have to take a picture in intense dark lighting. Overall, the G5S Plus has a very good performing front-facing and a rear-facing camera setup, but however the dual camera is not that great and the implementation is poor and not worth the high price.